Hey guys, what's going on? How is everyone this evening? I'm adjusting, I'm making adjustments. Where am I supposed to be looking? So, what's going on, everyone? It's time for 30 books in 30 weeks. And this week's book is The Five Love Languages. So, I know a lot of people have already read this book. What's going on, Greg? Thanks for popping in. It says the five love languages is a secret to love that lasts. And it's interesting to me. This is about probably my third time maybe reading this book over the years. And each time I have a different takeaway from the book. Hey, Clifford. And so I was reading today in preparation for the video and the takeaways I wanted to share with you guys, and it occurred to me that not uncommon, I also discovered something else that was like an aha for me. So I want to share that aha with you guys today. And if you're coming in, as you come in, feel free to share the video out, invite some other people into the conversation, because we're going to talk all week. This is our book in week 23, The Five Love Languages. So chime in on the conversation. Like, everybody has relationship stories and relationship woes and issues and wins and victories and all kinds of stuff. So the conversation should have a very broad appeal. And if you're coming in for the very first time, my name is Marcy Batiste. I welcome you into the tribe, the Ultimate Power Tribe. And I am America's #1 reality-based success and recovery trainer, sold out to my happiness, and I live life on Mars. And truly being able to be the spark that ignites the light for someone else to discover and embrace their star power is like so important to me. And so I love the fact that having my own business, being an entrepreneur, has allowed me to meet incredible people, learn their stories, share their stories, and then be able to contribute to them finding and discovering their happiness, their journey towards their happiness. And 30 Books in 30 Weeks is a self-development journey that I started for myself and for my clients last year, back in 2017, at the end of the year, and have just really up-leveled it for 2018 to the point that, hey Kevin, what's going on, Philip? To the point that we're literally 160 plus videos in to this process, and so 160 plus takeaways are all loaded up on my YouTube channel from 23 amazing books. Each one of these was me rating my personal development library to say, okay, of the books that you have, which ones have had massive impact on you, and what were your takeaways? Because a lot of who I am and my coaching style and how I counsel my clients comes from my own personal experiences, my own life lessons, my own love lessons, and so forth. So sharing these ahas and these takeaways is a great way for me to kind of share with you all some of the tidbits that I share with my clients. So tonight, I want to talk about, there's a segment in this book where they talk about how people very seldom fall in love or out of love at the same time. Let me say that again. People very seldom fall in love or out of love at the same time. Two examples. So I'm 17 years old. I'm dating my now ex-husband. And I remember we were going to get food, and we had been dating for probably, I don't know, 4 to 6 months at that point. And Graciela, hey Grace. So we've been dating for maybe 4 to 6 months at the time. And I'm 17, and I remember him. I was getting out of the car to go into this fast food place, and I was like, hey, do you want anything? And he blurts out, I love you. I'm like, oh shit, like, did I, what? Did I just hear you right? So I'm dumbfounded, because I'm just like, I'm 17. I don't really even know what that all looks like. I don't know what that means. And so I was like, okay, do you want fries or not? And he was like, did you hear what I said? And I'm like, yeah, but I need to know if you want fries. Like, I could not possibly process the fact that he just said, I love you to me. And I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know if I loved him back. I didn't, like, I'm 17. Like, why are you saying this to me? I can't even begin to process what this means to my life. Is it significant? Like, I don't know. Do I love you? I don't know if I love you or not. But clearly, that's an example. He fell in love well before I did. And so then I get back in the car with these fries. I'm like, here's your food. And he's just like, why aren't you going to say it back? He's like 19 at the time. Aren't you going to say it back? I'm like, shit. Okay, well, I love you too. I so did not mean that. I so did not mean that. But I felt so pressured to say I love you back because he had said it to me and I'm 17. And I'm like, well, I guess that's just the thing that you're supposed to do. Like, that's what you're supposed to say. I didn't feel that way. I didn't even, hell, I was 17. I don't even know what love was at the time. I'm just now figuring that out in my 40s, like what love means, because I had to learn to love me first. I definitely hadn't learned how to do that at 17. I doubt that he had at 19, but he was always so much more self-assured in the fact that he loved me. So you take that then, and then, like I said, that became what is now my ex-husband. So it went from that at 17 to marriage at 21. And again, I felt pressured because by that point we had been engaged for now 2 years. I had a baby girl, and I'm just like, okay, I don't want her to be a daddyless daughter. So I go through this whole marriage process. I'm still not in love. So when we talk about he fell in love way before I did, like, I wasn't in love when I married him. I honestly was not in love with him when I married him. So we ended up being together, all together, 18 years. And I can honestly say, this is going to sound really, really asshole-ish. But I can honestly say I don't think I ever fell in love with him. I don't think I ever did. I had love for him. I cared for him as the father of my children. I cared for him as my spouse, but was I ever in love with him? Was it ever that love that was just like, I need to express this to you. I want you to know every day. Like, every day I want you to know that you're important to me. I didn't have that. I never had that moment where I was like, yeah, I'm in love. Wedding day? Nope. I didn't want to get married. I kept trying to put it off. So when we talk about people not falling in love or out of love at the same time, so fast forward 18 years, about year 6, I'm like, this isn't working for me. I didn't want to get married when I did. I definitely don't want to stay married, but I stay in it another 12 years because I thought that was what I needed to do for my children. So again, I'm in this whole marriage. I'm in this whole relationship. I'm trying to do the whole, hey, Ty, what's going on, Antonio? Tony, what's up? So I go into the whole marriage thing. Didn't want to be married. I'm in it. I'm stuck in it. Now I don't want my marriage to fail because then I feel like a failure. So now I'm staying in a marriage. I'm still not in love. So when we talk about people falling in love at different times and falling out of love at different times, and so I decided at about year 12, I don't want to do this anymore. I do not. Like, I literally planned my divorce for 6 years before I told him. So when we talk about people falling out of love at different times, I was 6 years into the process of divorcing him in my mind. But I was never in love with him in my mind and my heart to begin with. So the day that I finally tell him that I don't want to be married anymore, it's like his world crashed down. He didn't know what to think. That wasn't fair to him, but it wasn't fair to me to continue in an unhappy relationship for another 18, 20 years. I had given, at this point I'm 35, I had been with this person that I was not ever in love with, but I had love for, I had care for, concern for. Over half my life. Because the timing was off. Because I didn't communicate my needs. I didn't advocate for myself. I said what I thought people wanted to hear. I said what I thought he wanted to hear that day he first said, I love you. I said, I love you back, and I didn't mean it. So we have to get clear about where we sit on the love spectrum in these relationships, and we got to be honest about it. We got to be honest about it, guys. I gave up 18 years of my life because the day he fell in love, I felt obligated to love back, and I never did. I never did. And so when I was reading this in this book, I don't know how I've missed this all these years. I was like, damn, like that's so powerful. That is so powerful. Like that communication piece. And we talk about how important communication is in relationships, but nobody breaks it down. And so then when I said I didn't want to be married anymore, I'm 6 years ahead, and he's still trying to process now, like she fell out of love way before I did. So when they say people very seldom fall in or out of love at the same time, that messed him up for a long time, because it came out, in his mind, it came from out of nowhere. Like just all of a sudden one day I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm in love, and the next day I don't want to be married. But that wasn't how it happened. I was never in love to begin with. I lied when I was 17. I lied the day that I said I do, but I took the vows seriously. So the vows were more important to me at that juncture at 21 years old than the relationship ever was. I was committed to the vow. I was not committed to loving this individual because I had never fallen in love with him. So I had never actually fallen out of love with him, because to fall out, you have to be in and to begin with. And like I said, I had love for him. I had concern for him. I cared for him, but I was not in love with him. Never was. So when we talk about these love languages, that's why I talk about your love timing is at least, if not more, important than your love language. And so we invest a lot of time talking about, are we speaking the same language? But shoot, like, are you speaking at all? Because if you are not advocating for what you need out of a relationship, if you're not advocating for what you're capable of putting into it, if you're not honest about it, if you're not willing to tell the truth, you're not willing to say, you know what, I'm not really ready to say I love you right now. And it seems crazy, and granted, I was 17 at the time, but subsequent relationships after my divorce, I kept making that same mistake over and over and over again until I finally got it. I finally learned, like, shit, don't say you love people when you don't. That's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair to that person. It's not fair to me, because now I feel obligated to this relationship because I've uttered these words that, and based on what our love languages are, they might not even mean the same thing at all. So that's the message tonight. Think about love timing, not just your love language. Think about your love timing and be committed to communication in relationships. And when I talk about relationships, you guys, I always talk about not just your intimate relationships, your dating relationships, your marriages. I'm talking about all of your relationships, whether it's family, it's friends, it's co-workers, it's business associates, it's community members, church leaders. They're all various levels of relationship. You have different types of love strings for each of these different types of individuals. Be honest about that. But in your intimate partner relationships, in your dating relationships, in your marriages, be honest about whether or not you're in love. Be honest with yourself first. Get that under control, and then be able to communicate that to your partner. You have to communicate. You have to be honest. You have to be willing to put your feelings out on the table. And that is a really, really tough thing to do. Coming from someone who has probably messed up more times than I've gotten it right. And so I share with you guys now, like, I'm so happily and decidedly single. But that's because I know now that I will not enter into a committed relationship until I'm committed to the partner that I'm in relation with. Okay, so that's the huge difference. It's a huge difference. So I might love someone and still not ever be in a relationship, committed relationship with them, but I could very much love them. And likewise, I could be in love with someone and still not in that committed relationship until I'm sure that I can be committed to that person and to that relationship, even if I am in love with them. So I might love you to the moon and to the stars and to infinity and beyond, as Buzz Lightyear says. But until I'm positive that when I give you my commitment, that I'm really committed to that process, I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again. So it's a learning process. It's a communication process. That's why I always say anybody who's in a relationship with me will have to be a great communicator, because this is mandatory. This is a part of the process. Like, you have to go through all of this in order to get to that amazing relationship. I don't want less than amazing. I don't want less than amazing. So that's my message for tonight. It's all about your love. It's just as much about your love timing as it is your love language. So think that through. People seldom fall in or out of love at the same time, and you got to get your partner time to catch up. So y'all have a great night. I'll see you back tomorrow night for another takeaway from the book, The 5 Love Languages by Mr. Gary Chapman. And also the survey is on the website. So check that out. If you have never taken the 5 love languages survey, check it out. Take the survey. Find out what your love language is. Mine is words of affirmation and quality time. So that's what, now you know. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night. Have an amazing evening. And as always, guys, thanks for living life on Mars and being part of the Ultimate Power Team. Take care.